Hey fam, it is your girl. Very late, but we're gonna get started. Y'all know how we do. We doing this, we doing it. Yes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, honey, please, and thank you. Go on over there. Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free. It is Reflections CMGF. I want to thank each and every one of everybody else who has already subscribed to the YouTube channel, who my new followers here on the book, here on YouTube, on the gram. Thank you, boo. Look, on the TikTok. Thank you. Look, on the TikTok. Thank you, boo. Thank you for showing your girl some love and giving me a little follow. Follow. You can go this year. Good news. Blessings. Yes. That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling grateful for each and every person. Y'all, it is May, honey. It is the month of May. It is why my note screen just disappeared? Why is the devil busy? My note screen just disappeared. I'm telling you what. It's May. It is the month of May. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Oh my gosh. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, y'all. From May the 1st to May the 31st, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. Why is it important? It is important because there are 1 in 5 people suffering. And if I didn't say this before, and I don't think that I did, it is 1 in 4. It's estimated that 1 in 4 people, if you are not now, will suffer from a mental health illness or disorder in their lifetime. So for all y'all good people out there like, oh, I ain't going through that right now. Yeah, that was me some years back. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know. And on this side. So guess what? Just because you're not today, honey, be grateful. But you never know when life will start lifing and things will start happening. So it's important to pay attention. And I'm just trying to get my note back. Trifling. It's very important to pay attention to when you start feeling some changes in your body. Yesterday, we did an anxiety screening. If you missed it, honey, no worries. Your girl got you. It is on the YouTube channel, honey, Reflections CMGF. You can go over there, go to the live listings, and scroll down. Yesterday, we did the anxiety screening. All month long, we are talking very intimately about mental health. Why? Because your girl has suffered in silence for a long time, too long. I had no idea. When I did come up out of the darkness and the valley that I was in, I had spiraled into depression, anxiety. I started having panic attacks after my big mama and my stepfather passed away back in 2015. There is a stigma that is associated with everything. And then, Lord forbid, if you're a Christian, I mean, I'm just saying, have you heard you can't have depression, anxiety? You shouldn't be having panic attacks if you really believe in God. Have you heard that? It's a whole big to-do. And so you have pastors that are committing suicide at alarming rates, right? They're up there, one of the number one people that commit suicide. Why? Under the pressure, the stress, the stigma that is associated. How dare they say something is wrong, that they don't feel okay today. They haven't been feeling okay today. They're pouring. It happens to most people. I call us the helper bees of the world. It happens to the people that are generally helping everyone else, and you tend to neglect yourself. I ain't gonna get in your business. I ain't even tell you who I am, but y'all know who I am out in these internet streets. It's your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin. Miss Michelle D.I. Why D.I. for divine intervention, honey? Yes, because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Miss Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl is always giving you the good information, honey. I give you the things that you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. Honey, the things that most people are not comfortable talking about. I have those, I help you. I have programs and I help you to have those uncomfortable but necessary conversations with the most important person that you know. You know who that is? Who's the most important person that you know? No, try again. It's you, boo. You are the most important person. Put you on the list. That is part of the problem. We don't even have ourselves on the list. I know you said your mama, your children, your grandma, your big mama, your dad, everybody, right? Your brother, sister, uncle, cousins. Everybody else is on the list except for you. You are the most important person that you know, honey. You have to put yourself on the list. That's part of the problem. I call us, again, the helper bees of the world, those that take care of everyone else and neglect ourselves. Okay, tonight we are talking panic attacks. Oh, man. Give me 1 second. When I had an assistant, y'all, it was so much nicer. I'm not complaining. Life goes on. I've had people and I've interviewed people understand. I think sometimes we get so desperate in our situation and needing help with people that you just kind of take help from anywhere and anything. And you just really can't do that. I'm very strategic about who I choose to work with and who I bring on to work with on a daily basis, because the way that I work, we meet daily often, right? And so I have my people to take a test. And so it's taken a little bit longer. I've interviewed a couple of people, but they were nice, but nope, didn't quite fit. And so I'm being patient and I'm waiting for help. So in the meantime, if you go back and watch something and it doesn't flow right, my purpose and my goal is to get you the information. The editing is not a priority for me at this point. It will be edited and it'll be nice and smooth and some other things. And it might look like some stuff that I did in the beginning when I had an assistant. But for right now, my goal and the priority is not how good it looks. It's not perfectionism, which perfectionism was something that I struggled with for a long period of time and thought that everything had to be perfect, or I didn't want to do it. I have a video on the Reflection Choosing Me Guilt Free under the podcast. It is under demonic entities. It's called unworthiness. Did you know this? Perfectionism was a sign of unworthiness. Going over there and check it out. I'm telling you, your girl be giving you the information, honey. Y'all think I'll be playing. Y'all don't want the smoke. Look, y'all don't want the smoke. You think you know, but you don't know. Listen, I'm giving you the things that you need, honey, for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. I'm just saying. If I can get these notes right, give me a second. Okay. Why? I gotta pull myself back up. Okay. I'm sorry. I did all this. I didn't save it. That's what I didn't do, is I didn't save my notes. I should have saved my notes. I didn't save it. Okay. And then I got the nerve that somebody always texts me treatment. Okay. Here we go. Now, why am I talking about this? Thank you for your patience. It's late. Your girl is tired, but I need to get on here and give y'all this information. My goal is to come on at least once a day or to post something. And I feel like the days are on fast forward. Nevertheless, here we go. What is a panic attack? Panic attack, I like to give you just, an official definition. So, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. The devil be so busy messing with me. I think he just be so busy. But you know what? I feel like whenever you're doing some positive things, honey, stuff is not going to be perfect, especially if you are a perfectionist like me. I'm in rehab for perfectionism. Okay, what is a panic attack? A panic attack are sudden, intense episodes of fear or discomfort that can trigger severe physical symptoms, even though there's no real danger. So you literally feel like somebody is choking you. You can feel like you're underwater. You can feel like all of a sudden you can't breathe and you can't catch your breath. I don't know if I equated it to, when I had the first one, I equated it to feeling like I was in a pool. And I don't know if you've ever been in a pool and you like stepped over the cliff like you're walking, and then it just sinks, the ground sinks from underneath of you and you almost drown, like that almost drowning feeling where you're gasping for air. That's what I remember feeling, but you're not under any water. Right? There's nothing there, but it feels like you are gasping for air, like you're underwater, you cannot breathe, right? So common symptoms are racing heartbeat, shortness of breath, chest pain, dizziness, sweating, trembling. They all mimic a heart attack. So you literally feel like you're having a heart attack. And when you go to get checked out for it, like if you do like I did the first time and go to the emergency room, like they check your heart first. They think you're having a heart attack because it's all very symptomatic of a heart attack: dizziness, sweating, chest pain, trembling, right? Feeling like impending doom because you can't breathe. You cannot quite catch your breath. And so it says they literally last for a few minutes, can be very distressing, and can occur just out of the blue. This is the part that is so scary, and I'm going to share with y'all what happened the first time I had a panic attack. So we're talking Big Mama passed away Father's Day, the day after Father's Day 2015. My stepdad passed away 3 months later, September the 15th, right? Or 2.5, or however really you want to count it. And the first holiday that came up was what? Thanksgiving. So it was the Monday of the week of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was Thursday, and it was that Monday. And school was out. So I dropped baby girl off at the YMCA at the little daycare joint, right? And I get in the car and I'm driving. Now, mind you, in my head and to this day, I don't remember thinking at that moment about anything, right? I can't really say that I was worried about anything at that moment. But I get into my car, I pull out of the YMCA, I get to the light, and all of a sudden, it just hit me. All of a sudden, can you imagine? I'm driving. Thank God I was at a light when it happened. But all of a sudden, I just felt like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath, right? I felt like I was about to drown. So I called my cousin, because for me, my cousin and I was just talking about it a few weeks ago. We're just talking about panic attacks, because she had been having panic attacks since we were little. So, and I had literally said to her, Lord have mercy, I can't even imagine anything like that. Just a few weeks ago, I'm like, oh my goodness. And here I am. So the way that she had described it, because it was so fresh in my mind, we had just talked about it. And the way that she described it is what I was feeling, right? And so I remember like it, and it almost felt like my hands were so heavy, right? Like I really couldn't move or whatever. But I remember grabbing my phone and press the button. I thankfully had her on, so I just could press the button. And when she answered the phone, I couldn't talk. And she immediately, I'm so grateful to her because she immediately knew like what was going on. And so she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm." Like that's all I could do, right? And so she talked me through it. And so she was like, she could tell I was driving. And so she said, "Pull over." Right? Because you really, like, it's so scary at that time. You don't know what in the world is going on. Like, you lose kind of all of your senses of like common sense. Like, I'm driving, pull over, right? I pull over. She said, "It's just going to be a few minutes. You're okay. Roll down your window, let the air get on you." I roll down the window. I remember I stopped. I waited a few minutes, take a couple of deep breaths, taking the deep breaths, and then it passes. And so she was like, "Are you okay now?" I was like, "Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay." Turn on the car, go back, get back on the street. Happens again. I'm right down the street. I'm not even a mile and a half from my job. And that mile and a half, I probably had 6 or 7 panic attacks going down that street. Like it would stop and then it would go. It would stop and then it would come. And it would stop and then I finally got to where, and I remember literally, my cousin was on the phone with me. I remember praying in my mind. Like I just remember praying, and because I couldn't control it. And I felt like the way the morning 8 a.m. traffic and stuff was, I couldn't really get over now. I'm in the middle of traffic. And so very scary. But I get down to the job, I turn on the street, and I park the car, right? Now, the parking is terrible. At this point, it's 2015. I had just moved to Texas in April. I had just started this new job. I had just started this new position. So I didn't know my managers' names. Like I knew their faces, but I didn't know their names. My cousin, I didn't know the name of the building. I didn't know the name of the street that I was on. Like I didn't know anything. All I knew is that I'm supposed to go in that building, go upstairs to the second floor for training. Like I didn't know any information. And then when you're in a mental state like that, like your memory, the brain fog is real. And honestly, guys, it was so overwhelming. For some reason at that point, I felt like I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't lift my hands. I couldn't move my feet. So at this point, I'm late. It's after 8 o'clock, right? Everybody is in the building. And so all I see is parked cars. Nobody is outside. So my cousin is talking to me and she's asking me about, different people and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anybody's name. She was like, "It's okay. Like, it's okay." She's amazing. My cousin was amazing. She's like, "It's okay." I was like, I look over and I felt like I couldn't all the way move my neck. I remember looking over and I saw one of the ladies that I was actually training with. She was running late for work. Oh, God's timing is everything. So I look over and I knew her name. Her name is Miss Angie. She's still over there. Angela Pettigrew is my angel. She was my angel that day. I said, "Miss Angie, Miss Angie." Like I couldn't talk. I couldn't project, right? So she finally hears me. She comes over. "Baby, are you okay?" I was like, "No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not okay. I'm not okay." And so she goes and gets help. And they call 911. Well, at least Angie told my cousin, what street we were on and everything, because she couldn't even call 911 for me because I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know the name of the street. I didn't know where I was at. It was terrible. Okay, so I get to the hospital, and again, they did all of the tests and all of the things. And so that's what's going to happen. Like you will really literally feel like you're having a heart attack with the chest pain and all of the stuff. And so, of course, they checked up for everything and everything was normal. So they said, are you worried about anything? Are you thinking about anything? Well, it was the holidays, right? I told you I just started a new job and my stepdad had just passed away. So when we went to Baltimore that year for the funeral, when we went to Baltimore that year, at that time, my dad was still alive. My brother was like, he's sick, but it doesn't look good. So y'all need to come up here. So me and my oldest brother came, of course, not knowing that he was going to pass away. And so I just stayed for the extra, for the week instead of trying to come to Texas and come back. So I didn't have any PTO time. And so with it coming up on the holidays, and I remember I was thinking about my dad being on a back porch cooking, frying turkeys. I was thinking about my brother. What is he going to do for Thanksgiving? I think it was more so than I think. I know for sure. It was the thought of that, my brother being there, my dad not being there, and what was that going to look like? And then I felt an overwhelming feeling of guilt that I wasn't going to be able to be there for my brother for Thanksgiving, that I wasn't going to be able to come home and at least, try to comfort in some kind of way. And that consumes me, right? That was a trigger. So in these panic attacks, the biggest thing that I know now that I didn't know then is knowing what your triggers are, right? So what is a trigger? A trigger is something that sets off a very specific reaction or response in someone, right? So it is, in the context of mental health, it is associated with experiences, situations, something that brings up emotional distress, or, of course, anxiety, PTSD, depression, like all of those are triggers, right? So it can be a certain place, it can be an event, it could be a smell, it could be a thought, it could be a memory, it could be a sensation. Let me say that again. It could be a smell, it could be a place, it can be an event, it could be a thought, it could be a memory, it could be a sensation. Triggers. So if you're having anxiety, if you're having these depressive, states, if you even have PTSD, and we'll go into PTSD tomorrow, but if you're having PTSD and you don't know what your triggers are, right? Because you're ignoring it. I know that sometimes I get these things in these periods of time where I can't breathe, or I might be having something crazy has happened, but it passes, so I'm okay. And you don't understand that you seeing something, you flashbacking, you having a memory, maybe a favorite show come on that you and so-and-so used to watch all the time together, right? Maybe like me, you're driving to work and you see the van, right? Maybe you have a flashback of a memory and it's too overwhelming. Maybe you hear a song that what's so crazy is that you don't know what is going to set you off. So you could be completely fine 1 minute, and then the next minute you are extremely not fine. You're not fine, right? You're in a state. And so that is the biggest thing I really want somebody to get today, is to figure out if you're having panic attacks. What are your triggers? Because that is why you're having them, right? Once you figure out what your triggers are, then at least you can kind of control them, and then you know what's going on. It isn't going to make it go away, not so much just knowing. And so let's get into these good treatments, okay? So, of course, at that point, you may need medication, okay? Again, like we talked, and we talk every time about any and every mental health situation. Everybody's body is different. Everyone's situation is different. Sometimes you can go the natural route. Sometimes you can do the diet, exercise, meditation, mental health, all of the things route, right? And then sometimes you need some medication. Okay, so it's another therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy that you would need to be seeing a therapist for, okay? People have to specialize. We talked yesterday about picking out the right therapist. You have to have somebody who actually specializes in cognitive behavioral therapy. Excuse me. What that does is it helps you to identify and change the negative thought, because it's something in your mind sometimes that you are associating with that negative thing and that negative thought. That's the trigger, and it flips it. So I always say I'm going to look this up, because I forgot, and I'm sorry because I forgot. So I can't remember right now, but with the cognitive behavioral therapy, I received this after, some traumatic things had happened. It wasn't a panic attack, but again, it's trigger related, right? And so sometimes you can have traumatic experiences that have happened, and this will help you as well. So what it does is that the memory is so embedded and negative in your mind that you needed to switch over, right? And so the cognitive behavioral therapy helps to switch it over. You know what? I'm not going to talk about it tonight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to research it, and I'll do that so I can tell you exactly where it is. I'm tired. It's 12:41. I'm sorry. True transparency. I just can't remember it at this moment. But I'll come back tomorrow. I didn't write all that part down because I normally can just say it, but I can't remember. Just true transparency. But CBT, Google if you need to. Look it up, right? But what it does is it helps to switch it. It switches that negative thought, because the negative thought is almost like it's right here in the front part of the lobe of your brain. I can't remember which section it is. I'll talk more intelligently about it tomorrow. It's not my purpose to talk about it intelligently tonight. The purpose is to get you the information, right? But it switches it from one side of your brain to the other, where one side of your brain really has these strong memories where all the trauma, and this helps also with like childhood trauma, with if you've ever had sexual assault, any kind of really negative, whatever negative behaviors that you might have had that are really set traumatically in your mind, right? That triggers you. It will shift it from being almost like every time that trigger happens, you're back in the situation. Like I told you with my stepmom before, right? Whenever I would talk about it, or whenever I would think about her choking me, I could literally feel like it felt like her hands were still around my throat and in my esophagus. Very traumatic experience for me. Things like that might have happened to you. This type of therapy will help you to shift those traumatic things from so frontal. So it helps with PTSD. It helps with, okay, y'all got it. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is what it's called. Cognitive behavioral therapy. We'll talk some more about it more in detail tomorrow when I cover PTSD. Okay. Lifestyle changes. So again, regular exercise, healthy diet, adequate sleep. We don't realize how important sleep is, but your body resets at night, right? stress management, meditation, yoga, all those things, very helpful. Relaxation techniques, deep breathing. Guys, if you don't think that deep breathing or just taking a breath helps, I promise you, try it, right? One of the very things that I found out at the very beginning of my very intentional healing journey was a good friend of mine introduced me to breath work by Miss Louise Hay. Excuse me, that was mirror work by Miss Louise Hay, but breath work also came along with that. Lisa Mehta was her name. Lisa Mehta is who taught me about that. But breath work. So what do you want to do with this? It is not just breathing, right? It is very intentionally breathing. For me, what I do and what I teach people to do, because I'm visual, is when those triggers are up there, really is just full of all these negative thoughts. If you just think of this dark negative cloud of smoke and gook and junk up in there, right? When you take your breath in, you're taking your breath in and you're imagining. I tell people to think of 3 or 4 good things, 3 or 4 positive things, 3 or 4 things that bring you joy, and breathe them in. It's almost like they're going in, and I want you to picture them like they're on a sponge and they're in there cleaning all of the negative out. So affirmations is something that you can use, right? I'm a beautiful, positive person. You know, or you could think of something that somebody might have said about you, something that makes you happy, something that brings you joy, but you breathe that positive in. Okay, so as you're breathing in, breathe in through your nose, hold it. Okay, imagine the sponge cleaning all of the gook out. As you breathe it out, it's releasing. You're releasing it. You breathe it in. You can do this if you're having a panic attack. You can do this if you're having just a moment. I work on the phones. And so sometimes I would get a call that will be very hard, that will remind me of somebody that sounds like a situation like my father, right? I talked to a man one day, that man, whole personality was just like my dad, and he was just in a world of trouble. I talked to that man for a good 25-30 minutes, and when I hung up the phone, he reminded me of my dad so much it overwhelmed me with sadness for him, because he didn't have anybody. He was lonely, you know. And by the time we finished talking, he was laughing and smiling and everything, and we were joking around and everything, and he was so much better. But I was like, oh my goodness, I had to take a break. Emotionally, it was just heavy for me. And I took a break. I went in the bathroom and I did my breath work. I cleaned my breath, and I was just grateful. I thought of, just grateful things that I can think of that I was grateful for in that moment, that I was able to be with him, and just washed away all the negative stuff that I was feeling and pushed it out, right? Very, very easy thing that you can do. You can do this as long as you want, as many times as you want, but very intentionally, very mindfully relax your muscles in your body. You can go through and picture, and each and every time, and just, picture, I'm going to relax my neck. I'm going to relax my shoulders, right? You can move them around. You can stretch. But all of these things, very intentional movements to relax your body, mindfulness practices, just YouTube mindfulness practices, mindfulness techniques, deep breathing, relaxation. All of the videos will pop up and you'll have, whatever. Don't make it hard. Okay, don't make it hard on yourself. This is not hard stuff. This is very simple, very easy things, practical things that you can do that will make a difference. The other thing that's not on this list that I always say is turn on some music. My really last really bad panic attack that I had, and when I would have them, I love music. And so Ty Tribbett's, it's this guy in Dallas that does this mime. And so I was watching very intentionally 3 mimes that bring me joy. that bring me back down, that help to relax my mind. So find something that you like, right? That you know will shift you, because that automatically releases serotonin, the good oxytocin, all of the good stuff, all of the good endorphins in your body, right? It releases everything, automatically will release and will give you that little boost. And so you want to do that very intentionally. You could be in the middle of it, turn the music on and listen to the words and let them seep on you, right? I would listen to Ty Tribbett, God will work it out. Doesn't matter what the problem, God will work it out. Yes, any type of situation, He will work it out. I don't have no doubt. God will work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Yes, right? Every time it brings me back, because I'm like, yes, because I focus on the word. So you focus on the word. So you need to make sure it's something that's positive, that will bring you joy. It's because it decreases your spirit. The other big thing is support groups. Guys, don't sleep on support groups. I know that you're out there. I know that you feel embarrassed about this. I know that you don't want anybody to know, but I need you to understand, again, you are not the only one going through this. And to hear other people's stories is one of the things that healed me the most. My thing that I'm so grateful for was that God led me to men that were comfortable in their situation, that were in their healing process, and that were able to share their story. And all I can think of, if this beautiful spirit is able to be vulnerable and share their spirit and heal, then I know that I can too. So you will be surprised what a support group would do. Right now, Facebook have all kinds of groups. You can just put it in the Facebook. I promise you there's a group that's going through whatever you're going through. That's a support group for you. Like, don't make the stuff hard, right? And the other part of it is, of course, I feel like I never say to pray and get in the spirit and all of the things, because I feel like that's a given. But for some people, it's not. But for me, it just helped. I would get a playlist every morning because I was having the panic attacks in the morning. So I had to come up with a morning routine. I had to be very intentional. You have to be very intentional about your time, right? And so I had to be very intentional. So as soon as I woke up, I pressed my button for my playlist. Because once you put some positive into the atmosphere, especially if your house is just quiet, we are energetic beings having a human experience. Yes, the music is energy. And so as soon as you wake up and you hear that music, it's going to make a difference. I would start with the Clark sisters. I had a whole playlist. I would start with all of the stuff that makes me happy. I'm singing to top of my lungs. Get in the shower, right? Another thing I do is I get in the shower and I just imagine it's all this gook on me. And I just, when I'm washing, as everything, whatever it is going down the drain, I'm imagining all this. I'm starting fresh. I'm starting new. I don't know what this gook is that's on me right now, but no, you will be so surprised at how good you feel afterwards. These are simple little things that you can do that will help you. If you're having panic attacks, the other thing, of course, you want to definitely go and make sure that it's not a heart attack. Don't assume that it's a panic attack. But the reason that you will know is that typically it'll stop. Typically, there's not really a reason for it. It literally comes out of the blue by what those triggers. So the number one thing that you can do for yourself is you need to get honest with yourself. You need to figure this out. Take a minute and think about it. What are my triggers? When is this happening? If you need to keep a notepad and take notes, because the brain fog does come. So sometimes you really can't remember, right? So if you need to write down, what was going on or what was happening, what am I really worried about? Because some people, you will sit up and you'll say, what's wrong? I remember my cousin said, what's wrong? I was like, nothing. Like, I don't know what it is. But it was the week of Thanksgiving. So know if a holiday is coming, right? If a holiday is coming, if the anniversary of a death is coming, if somebody's birthday is coming, right? Mother's Day, Father's Day, like all of these type of things, something that associates your mind back to the person, the place, the thing, whatever it is that's bothering you, that is the trigger. And so what can I do now that I know that a birthday is coming? A Mother's Day is coming. Every year, I would just around 2 weeks before Father's Day, because that's when Big Mom, it would start Father's Day and it would go all the way through till October. And then the holidays will come. I would feel good for a couple weeks, and then the holidays will come and I'm back down again. I didn't know what was going on and why I was feeling. I just knew I didn't feel myself. But you still, what are we doing? Going and being and doing. So you have to take a minute to get intentional. So if you know that you've had a loss, prepare for it, right? I tell people to start to celebrate, especially if it's grief, to start to celebrate that person, to start to acknowledge, to start talking to that person, to look for these little signs. We're also going to talk this month, and I'll go into it a little bit more. But after my stepfather passed, I started seeing this red bird, right? So I say pay attention to the little signs. If one of your triggers has to do with grief, pay attention to the little signs. I saw this little red bird. Every time I'm having a bad day, I'll see the red bird. Every time I'm thinking about, is this the right decision? Should I be doing this or should I not? If it's something that I'm supposed to do, the red bird will cross my path. And I say, okay, thanks, Dad. Right? Looking for the little signs. When we are so busy going and being and doing and rushing through life, you miss the little things. Take a minute to ground yourself. Go to a park. It's about to get warm. Take your shoes off and put your feet to the ground. This is scientifically based. It's called grounding. Google it. Right? The earth and the ions from the earth, because again, we are energetic beings having a human experience. Put your feet to the earth and breathe. Take a minute. We're so busy rushing through life. There's no way 10 years ago I would have been like, go to the park and do what? I ain't got time for that. I gotta go to work. Right? We don't have time. We don't take the time, and everything sounds so crazy. But this is all scientifically based things, natural things that you can do that I promise you will help you. I go to the park. I put my feet on the ground. I stand by the tree and I stretch. I'm back. The sun is shining. The sun shining on you. Just the sunlight will give you life naturally. A lot of us are vitamin D deficient. That contributes, right? You need the sunlight. If you're always working, if you're always going and doing something, or if you're always in the house, when are you getting the natural? If you're running outside just to get in your car and then run into the next building, right? We have to be slow down and get intentional about our healing, get intentional about our life, get intentional about these little signs. So you have to pay attention, or you will continue to suffer, and it's not necessary. Again, you don't have to suffer in silence. I just need you to understand and know that you don't have to suffer in silence. That is the biggest lesson I need you to take from this. And we're going to be talking all this month about something that relates to your mental health as it relates to depression, anxiety, PTSD, and panic attacks. Next week, we're going to be talking about relationships, okay? Because one thing that I know for sure is that relationships affect your mental health. Whether you're in a good relationship, you just broke up, divorce, the relationship with yourself, like all of the things affect your mental status, right? being in love with somebody and then all of a sudden they're a stranger now. It's going to affect your mental health. Yes. So it's your girl, Michelle Franklin. We are, hey, Miss Jean. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, my favorite patient. We are talking all this month on mental health awareness from May the 1st to May the 31st. So again, if I'm not live, I will be posting. But if you haven't seen the post, then know that I plan on coming on live. So I don't have a time because, again, these days are going by so crazy. So please turn your notification on. Head on over to the YouTube channel. Follow your girl. It is all kind of good information over there. Reflections Choosing Me Guilt-Free. That is Reflections Choosing Me Guilt-Free. So it's CMGF. Follow your girl over there on the YouTube channel. We did this last year. It is a series over there called Faith Walk. Very much inspired last year after my nephew passed away to help with the hopelessness that I was feeling was in the world. And so I'm just doing my part. There are 8 billion people in the world. So what I feel like is that, again, not all 8 billion people are going to see my live. Not all 8 billion people are going to go to my YouTube channel. But if you are here, and if you are seeing this message, then that means it's for you, or if it's for somebody that you know and love. And so please share. And again, 1 in 4 people in this world, if you're not suffering right now, you may later. So save it, because you never know when you might need it. I pray that you don't, but if you do, I'm glad you'll have the information. All right. It is late, my good people. I am going to see y'all tomorrow. We're going to be talking about PTSD tomorrow. What is it? I will go back a little bit into more detail about the cognitive behavioral therapy tomorrow, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my experience with that as well. I believe, honey, some people are very embarrassed to talk about the things that they talk about, but things that they have been through. But I believe God is not a just because God. He's not. I believe that Romans 8:28, all things are working together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, right? And so all things are working together. So that means the good, the bad, and the crazy. We can get stuck in the crazy. And so what I do is try to help you to understand the crazy, try to help you to process it a different way. So if you need some help and you need to inbox me, please do that. I'm available. There is my link tree is there. It's in the comments section, and it's available on the YouTube channel, all of my information. So if you need to contact me, then please do. We do depression screening. We did the anxiety screening yesterday, but if you need a personal screening, we can do that as well. And then I help you to get resources if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed with that. 988 is the National Mental Health Resource. For anywhere in the United States, it will give you resources. They ask you what they ask you what your zip code is, and then they will give you the resources that is available in your area. So if you need to use that, I also had someone tonight that needed like some help with housing and different things like that. So you can also call 211 to help in your city. That is also a national resource. It used to be 411, like on the East Coast. So if you're a little bit higher up, it may be 411. Down here in the South, I know for sure it's 211. And so one of the two, you should be able to get your local resources. That's stuff like if you're in an abusive relationship and you need to get out, if you need to know where a homeless shelter is, if you need to know where a food bank is, if you need to apply for food stamps, if you need help with your rent, if you need help with your utilities, all these things affect your mental health, right? And so utilize the resources. You may not always be in a situation. Some people feel very guilty and feel ashamed of where they are in life, lives, right? So don't ever feel ashamed about where you are, because again, you are not alone. We all need some help sometimes, and that is okay. I just need you to know that is okay. All right, my family. I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching.